Day 2 of the 2023 Big East Tournament was nothing short of special, as the quarterfinals had 4 games on the slate. The first of these was between number 8 seeded St. John's and the number 1 overall seeded Marquette Golden Eagles. St. John's started off the game really well, as they were up 10 at halftime, but even trailed by 14 at one point, thanks to this bank shot. Big East Player of the Year Tyler Kolek had 0 points in the first half. As the second half went on, Marquette wore down St. John's, and Big East Player of the Year Tyler Kolek started to heat up. It started to get really close and really down to the wire. Dylan Wusu has been known to play well against Marquette, as he put the team on his back, scoring the final 11 of St. John's' 14 in regulation. His layup tied with 61 with 4.6 seconds left, and as Tyler Kolek finished with 19, he closed it out in overtime by a narrow margin of 72-70. Joel Soriano finished with 12 and 12, giving him his 25th double-double of the year, which is the most in the nation. Marquette has now won 7 straight and 12 of their last 13. This is the first time in the Big East semifinals since 2019, and they have a chance to punch their ticket to the finals, something they haven't done since 2005. It was a tale of 2 halves in the second of 4 games here in the quarterfinals, as Ed Cooley's Providence Friars looked really rough early on, as the Andre Jackson Jr.-led Huskies seemed to be too much, as they found themselves down 35-19 at halftime, the lowest amount of points they have scored in a half all year. Once the second half came around, the script seemed to flip a little bit in favor of Friartown. UConn led by as many as 26 with 12 and a half minutes left, but that's when the improbable and impossible comebacks seemed to start. Noah Locke contributed with a 3, Jared Bynum with a layup of his own, followed by a sweet dish to Ed Croswell, followed up by another 3 by Noah Locke to cut it to 11. The magical run continued with this crazy steal by Corey Floyd Jr. to get Providence within 5. Unfortunately, the Friar magic ended there, as UConn ended up holding on by a score of 73-66. UConn will play Marquette tomorrow at 6:30 for a chance to play in the Big East Championship. Game 3 of the Big East quarterfinals was a game in which many people likely did not or could not predict, especially early on. DePaul came out of the gate on fire, so much so that it took Xavier 13 minutes to get back-to-back stops. DePaul seemed to be scoring it at will in the first half, as Xavier went down 23-14 early on. Umaja Gibson could not seem to be stopped, as he had 22 and 6 on the afternoon and led his Blue Demons squad. He also had some really tough takes to the basket as well. I mean it when I tell you this DePaul Blue Demon team looked really good, and it ended up just getting to the point where it seemed like no matter whatever they threw up, it was going to go down. Nick Ongenda added into the mix with 16, 4, 1, and 3 blocks himself, including some big plays down the stretch. As the game got later into the second, Xavier showed why they were well-deserving of a 2 seed in the Big East. Big East Student Athlete of the Year Jack Nunji led the Musketeers with a double-double, giving Xavier 23 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Sule Boom had 16, 7, 2, and a steal himself, shooting 60% from 3, making 3 out of 5. Kobe Jones had 22, 6, 2, and 3 steals and was the main contributor to their comeback. Coupled with the smooth and 1, which put them within 3, Jones again came through, putting them up 3. Xavier went on to snatch the game from DePaul in the final minutes as they ran out of steam. Xavier will play the winner of Creighton and Villanova tomorrow at 9. The fourth and final game of this quarterfinal Thursday here in the Big East was a great one, as Villanova and Creighton squared off in the late game. The main theme going into the game was how well could Nova stop Ryan Kalkbrenner, who is 7'1", and being guarded by one of the smallest centers in the NCAA, and Eric Dixon, who is 6'8". The answer? They really could not. Kalkbrenner finished with 21 and 3, and while his rebounding did not hurt Nova as much, his scoring certainly did. Along with the scoring, Creighton had a very balanced attack versus Nova, with all of their 5 starters, including Arthur Kaluma, Baylor Shireman, Ryan Nemhard, and Trey Alexander combined for 50%, or 10 of 20 from the 3 themselves. Villanova cut it to single digits late as Caleb Daniels, Brandon Slater, and Eric Dixon had 17, 17, and 20 respectively, but it ultimately was not enough, as Ryan Kalkbrenner proved why he's a real deal center in the Big East. Creighton outlasted Villanova by a score of 87-74, and will advance to play Xavier with a chance to go to the Big East Championship. As the clock struck midnight on Manhattan, the action seen here today has definitely struck us all as well. For the WFUV Big East Beat Report, I'm Dan Bartels.